This is Dolany TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Oh, yes, the late evening edition here on Friday after another hard grinding week at work. She's done, she's over. We've got ourselves a hockey night in Canada, a Saturday suit night here on Dolany TV coming up tomorrow evening. But that said, first off, we gotta. Oh my goodness. We gotta get to more injury news. Hmm. Yes, you've long. I'm not breaking any news to you. All right, I'm not breaking anything to you. You know Mike Green's out for 3 to 4 weeks. Well, maybe I can round out the rest of the injury news and we can get this going, and then I can get into kind of where I'm going with today's video. Not exactly breaking down the news, but more so reacting to it. Neil's not ready. Clefbaum's not ready. Nygaard, you can imagine. I haven't had a chance to watch Tippett's little presser, but you can imagine when he says Nygaard, obviously not ready. Well, duh. And Green is a new one. Now that means Yamamoto's looking all right. Athanasiou's looking all right. Clefbaum's out, pardon me. Chris Russell looking like he'll be reevaluated in the morning alongside Yamamoto ahead of tomorrow night's matchup against the Winnipeg Jets. Now, Chris Russell out with concussion symptoms. Kyler Yamamoto, the high ankle sprain or the ankle sprain, whatever happened there. And that's the thing. Like, guys, you'd think to a degree I wanted to do my research and get this done, but here's what I'm doing, and here's the angle I'm coming in at, is at this point of the season, with as many injuries as we've had throughout the year, you know what, I did a whole breakdown the other last week on the Oilers injuries, how they've persevered, all that. Unfortunately, now with these injuries that just keep cropping up as things go down, and I mean battle hockey, right? The playoff chase, the playoff race, whatever you want to call it, it gets more intense, it gets more grinding, it gets players injured quicker, yes. They've also played 60 plus games already, and they're playing now 20 games of pretty much, if you're in the playoff race, playoff games. One in, one out kind of nights, but that's the problem. Is simply put, we have racked up so many injuries already this year, and it just gets tougher from here, and that's where my concern is this evening. Is simply put, I've been gung-ho on this team making the playoffs pretty much from game one of the season, right? I said this team can be a playoff team, no problem. Problem is, you go down like flies, you keep dropping, the injuries keep piling up, this team won't be a playoff team. And I'm going to be very, very upset if this team misses the playoffs and everybody that's been watching Dolany TV, following everything I'm writing down, everything I've said about this team being a playoff team, suddenly April 4th creeps out of, I don't know, the woodwork, whatever you want to use, the cement, whatever, and says, hey, you were wrong, you're an idiot, and then what do I say, right? At that point, how do you defend the Oilers missing the playoffs because everybody got injured? At the end of the day, injuries aren't an excuse. You have to persevere. That's kind of the mantra, right? That's how champions are born. That right, all that. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Did I say a team of all AHLers with Leon Draisaitl, Kyler Yamamoto, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on one line, and everybody else has never played in the NHL for more than 400 games? Technically, I know that's a incorrect statement, but you get where I'm going. Over exaggeration, hyperbole, whatever you want to call it. But simply put, right, is I'm sorry, the team that started this year was a playoff team, right? They could make the playoffs, they could get there. Problem is, as I very much so mentioned, or might not have mentioned in my injury video the other day, is simply put, this Oilers team, probably along with half of the other NHL teams, have yet to play a game with their actual opening night lineup that Dave Tippett had constructed coming out of camp. Straight up, name me a game in which everybody played. Because guess what? A lot of these guys weren't here to begin the year at some point, right? You think about Caleb Jones, William Lagesson, guys along the way, and guys have gone, guys have come, guys have been everywhere. And here's the problem, all right? So that's one example of kind of where we've ended up and how we're starting to get a little bit concerned. And I guess I should probably throw this in here. By no means am I writing this team off. By no means am I saying, give up on this team, it's over, it was a nice run, we're done. Guys, simply put, this team is at 74 points, about 18 points away from a wild card spot if we're lucky. We're about 20 points away from a guaranteed wild card spot. and we're about 22 points away from walking into the playoffs comfortably, right? That 92 to 96 point range. And let me tell you, I've watched this team for all but like 3 games this season, and I can tell you simply, actually, you know what? Take that away. I've watched this team for all but 1 game this season, right? Because that night I didn't watch on New Year's Eve, I still caught the third period. The night I didn't watch when I was at the Flames game last week, I caught the final 3 minutes, and that pretty much told me all I need to know. Now, secondarily to that, the game I missed December 6th against the LA Kings for my work Christmas party. What can I tell you? Pretty much nothing. All right, so that's set. I've watched this team more than anybody I know. I've watched this team. Actually, that's not true. There probably are some Oilers fans that I do know that have watched this team, but not that they've straight up told me they've watched every single game this season. So I've watched a lot of Oilers hockey this year is what I'm trying to get at. That's my point. Let's just spit it out and get on with it, shall we? So I've watched a lot of Oilers hockey, and I mean, if I'm going to tell you I'm going to write this team off no matter how tough the schedule is, I'd be some kind of fool. Because, guys, I've watched a lot of people this year write off this team after December, after losing 2 in November or October or whatever you want to say. And, guys, if I could count on one hand how many times the season has been over, I'd have about 15 fingers, all right? Right? The season was supposed to be over in November when we started falling back to earth. The season was over. It was game over in December. Good night. This team was not making the playoffs. Not even a chance we do as good as last year. Well, then all of a sudden the resurrection in January. Okay, some people get back on board. February is going pretty good without, well, hold on. It was going good. Connor McDavid out of lineup. Good night. Oilers fold. Draisaitl's nothing without McDavid. Blah, 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 blah. Here we are. Like I said, 18 points out of a playoff spot, technically speaking, 20 out of comfortable, 22 out of guaranteed, or however you want to say, right? So, okay. All right. Fine and dandy. Problem is, at some point of every season, it wears on you. And I'm sorry. The injuries are starting to wear on me. Like, I've kept my faith all, and it's not that I'm losing my faith. It's just, man, because if it's all going to come apart and get derailed, like I said, if the people are able to come out of the woodworks that were calling me an idiot for thinking this team's a playoff team, and they're able to come out of the woodworks because this season got derailed by the injury bug, you have got to be kidding me. Because there's absolutely nothing on paper that says Mike Green was going to be traded for, right? Like, okay, Tyson says the Oilers are going to be 4th or better in the Pacific on September 25th. All right? Write that down, or somewhere, wherever I released my 10 bold predictions for the Edmonton Oilers season. Nowhere in there on that day did it say in writing that Mike Green was going to be traded for the night before the trade deadline and then get injured a couple games later, 3 to 4 weeks. Nowhere. So, right, like, honestly, nobody can come here and say that, oh, the Oilers aren't a playoff team because down the stretch they were going to fall apart because of injury. And so if anyone tries to sit there and claim that, that's just going to be absolutely mind-boggling to me. But at the same rate, I'm wearing the egg on my face because I'm that guy who publicly broadcasted for 60 games already in that this is a playoff team. And then if they miss because of injury, what do I got to say? And that's going to be the frustrating part for me. Is just simply put, I've put a lot of eggs into this basket, right? We've gone crazy places so far on the channel in 2019, 2020, and now there's that risk because of injuries. It just keeps falling apart. And honestly, straight up, we might not have an injury for the rest of the year. We might not have a single injury the rest of the year. We're done. We're great. Everybody gets back mid-March, and we go on a heck of a run. But the problem is, I've seen this, been there, done this before, right? Is a lot of Oilers seasons. You know what? The decade of darkness, the whole spiel since 05-06, a lot of those years have been derailed by injuries, right? You think Taylor Hall taking a skate to the face, right? It's just the freak stuff. And nobody can predict what happens when the guys hit the ice. It's not like our guys are getting boarded through the glass because we don't have anyone to protect them. That's not the kind of injuries we're talking about. We're talking about injuries which, what are you going to do? Yeah, sure, it was a knee on Mike Green kind of sort of looking like, but, I mean, I don't think I had anything to, like, if I had something very angry to say about that, I would have probably made a video at the end of the Vegas Golden Knights game. Instead, I went to bed and slept soundly that night. So it's just simply fact. You put on the skates, you put on your pads, you go to work for a night. You don't know if you're going to get injured that night or not. That's the life of a professional athlete, and it is what it is. But at the same rate, guys, this is getting to be a headache, these injuries. And I mean, like, you know what? Yeah, yeah. You know what? The playoffs are completely in sight, no problem. But this is where the doubt starts creeping in, and this is where the cracks start showing. So if it gets a little bit high stress here down the stretch, it's going to be real, right? And that's where I'm saying it's getting real now. Is we're in a playoff chase, and we're that much away, right? Top half is making it, bottom half's making it, or not making it, and that's all that's separating it is that much, right? A key injury here, a key injury there, which we've already had 30 million of this season. So what's a guy to do? What's a guy to do, right? And I'm trying to, like, I'm stalling for time here with a couple of things, but I'm trying to think of how to sum this up. I had it is, it's simply put, you can't game plan to be injured down the stretch. And the thing is, down the stretch, everybody's gearing up. Everyone's ramping up for playoff hockey. Meanwhile, down the stretch, and I've got it now, this is where I'm going, is simply put, we're injured. We're just trying to survive. We're just trying to get enough wins to still be in the mix when we get healthy. Well, problem is, everybody's trying to win every game right now, and we're trying to just survive till we're healthy. And that's kind of what's got me a little bit worried. We're in pure survival mode. Because you look at this Oilers roster, the lineups they released today, right, via Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer. Let me go get them. Athanasiou, McDavid, Ennis. Yeah, to new top line, I'm good. RNH, Draisaitl, Yamamoto, I'm good. Now you got Archibald, Sheehan, Kazian, okay. Kara, Haas, Chason, okay. Neil, Granlund, Patrick Russell, okay. Those are your 15 forwards. A couple guys banged up. Defense, Nurse Bear, Jones, Legason, Benning, and Larson all mixed in there, and Chris Russell. So think about this with me, all right? Is simply put, Athanasiou, he's been banged up and had to leave a game. McDavid, he's missed some time. Ennis, brand new to the team, will cut him some time to miss some time. RNH has missed some time. Draisaitl has not missed time. Yamamoto has missed time. Archibald has missed time. Sheehan has missed time. Kazian, both due to injury and suspension, has missed time. Kara has missed time. Haas has spent time in the AHL. Chason has missed time. Neil has missed time. Granlund has spent time in the AHL. Patrick Russell, I believe, at one point did miss time. Nurse has not missed much time, if at all. Bear, same thing. Then you get into Jones. He's been in the AHL. Larson's missed time. Legason's been in the AHL. Matt Benning's missed substantial time. So has Chris Russell. Mike Smith missed a game due to injury. And Mikko Koskinen squeaky clean. There you go. Talk about it. Where's Clefbaum? Where, right? Like, my goodness sakes. Guys, you name one line that has been completely healthy this year. None. None whatsoever. And I mean, that's hockey, right? There's guys, but the substantial time these guys missed, and we're sitting here on the edge of make it or break it, and we're just still in that bubble due to injury of just surviving. And that's, guys, if you see me a little high stress, if you can hear I'm a little high stress today, is simply put, we're in for a very high stress finish if the injuries keep up, and even if the injuries don't keep up, because, ladies and gentlemen, the schedule only gets tougher from here on out. We play the Jets tomorrow. We've got 18 games to go, and technically speaking, we need 10 more wins for that 94-point middle zone, which means in our next 18, we need to go 10-8. Doable. 100%. Don't kid me wrong, this Oilers team. If I thought they had a chance last year, they very dang well have a good chance this year. Problem is, the injuries keep up, you stay in survival mode, and I guess let me sum it up this way before I head on out. The longer you stay in survival mode, the harder it is to make the playoffs, and the only way to get out of survival mode is to get healthy. We'll find out what happens right away here. Guys, we're into the final day of February tomorrow. That's when you'll next hear from me, unless big breaking news happens tonight. I'm going to take the night off, get this video up, rip some chow with the boys, and I'll catch you tomorrow for the game preview, our discussion midday, Hockey Night in Canada, Saturday Suit Day, the game review, and the live stream, and all that good stuff. I am up on out of here.